That's our audio marker.
Fantastic.
Hello, everybody. Olias here from the Cosmic Panel. Lukas behind the camera once again. All right. Don't say hello. Don't say hello. Hope everyone's doing well. I have Jadzia Axelrod here. Thank you for coming in, Jadzia.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm delighted to be here.
Jadzia, of course, is the author of the current Hawk Girl book. So we're going to ask her some questions. And first off, the most important question is, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. I've been here all day. Not all day, all afternoon. And it's been marvelous meeting people and signing books and just having a good time. One of the best parts of the job, honestly.
Definitely. It's very nice. It's very heartwarming, I'm sure. And I'm glad some people came out with their books. So thank you again for being here.
Oh, no problem.
So first question, unrelated to how you're doing, is do you have a favorite genre to write?
Yeah, I mean, I like the sci-fi fantasy space because that's the genre where you get to portray a character's inward journey outwardly and have them move through a fantastical environment that mimics what they're going through internally. And that's a lot of fun and a lot of fun to play with. And that's why I keep coming back to it.
Nice. I would definitely say there's a fantasy side to this Hawk Girl book, obviously, with the narration and stuff like that. So is that sort of your way of integrating that?
Yeah, and I wanted to distance it from other recent Hawkman stories, which have been very sci-fi. And so to have something that was more fantasy and folklore based was kind of a conscious move to sort of distance it from those books.
Very nice. I enjoy that. And, I must say I've really been enjoying this Hawk Girl series.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I think it's very refreshing. It's a lot of fun. Got a lot of new faces to explore, so that's always a great time. And speaking of Hawk Girl, how would you say you approach a character who hasn't gotten their own series in such a long time?
Well, the beauty of that is there's a lot of things to explore, right? Like there's stuff that hasn't been detailed about her and her life that I get to define, which is very nice. So in future issues, we'll see some of her childhood growing up. We'll see her perspective on a lot of things that have happened to her, which is something that's been kind of not necessarily glossed over, but not focused on, I think is a better phrase. Like, how did Kendra feel about being a Black Lantern? Like, we don't really know. It's not something that's ever been delved into. So to have this opportunity to kind of poke some things about her history and also set her up for a more independent future has been a lot of fun.
That's awesome. That's very cool. So next question. How important would you say it is for you to have a voice in the comics industry?
I mean, it's very important because this is what I want to do. Also, I know that as a queer woman, as a trans woman, being able to tell stories with queer and trans characters in a mainstream superhero book is really incredible and not something that happens every day. And so to have characters like Galaxy and her girlfriend in Hawk Girl has been wonderful and important. I just received a message today from a non-binary person who was someone who had sworn off comic books for a long time because they just didn't feel represented. And then to be able to pick up Hawk Girl and feel like this was written not necessarily with them in mind, but at the very least not against them.
Exactly.
It was really powerful.
Exactly.
And there was a character who was questioning their gender identity, and that was really good for them to read. So that was really nice. I really liked that, appreciated that.
Yeah.
So I don't want to get too oh, it's great that I'm doing it kind of thing, because I don't think that's true, but I do think that sort of representation is important and does kind of help people feel more confident about their own lives if they see themselves mirrored in the fiction that they read.
There's no doubt that the comics industry is a very male-led industry, so you don't have to be shy about any of those statements that you just made. They're very true. So, yeah, it's wonderful to have that represented and to have a fan like that even reach out and say that is amazing. So that's great. Obviously, you have introduced Galaxy now. How exciting was that for you to be able to introduce your own original character into the mainline DC universe?
Oh, it was great. Because I've been saying since the Galaxy the Prettiest Star came out that was in the main continuity, and no one believed me. And that's fine. They didn't have any reason to believe me. There was no like tie-in or anything. But now we have an older Galaxy in Hawkgirl, and that's just been a lot of fun. It's been so great to write those characters again. It's been so fun to have her bounce and play off of Hawkgirl, who's a very different personality, and to have those two share space and have just the ways they're alike and the ways that they're not alike has been really fun for me as a writer.
I really enjoyed her introduction scene where she just comes on the battle and she's just like, I'm just going to turn them off. And Hawkgirl's like, wait, what did you just do?
Yeah, that scene was great because I really wanted that. And I was like, I need like some sort of gaseous fire aliens for those to work. And then I was going to do a bunch of research and find one that already existed. And I'm like, wait, I don't have to do that. I can just make them up.
Yeah.
I can just make these up. Here are these guys. The Helians are brand new, and they've also always been here. And that's been a real fun thing to kind of have that freedom to like just throw out some crazy ideas and play around with them.
They're cute and menacing equally. So was there any singular event or comic or book that made you want to begin pursuing a career in comics?
I mean, I wanted to do it like since I read my first comic. Like if we want to go back that far, like it was an issue of The Flash. And I forget what number it was, but there's a scene where the Flash has to be in two places at once. And it's one of those ridiculous comic book science things where he is talking to himself as both Barry Allen and the Flash and just running back and changing clothes very fast. And no one can see the running back and forth, but they can see like the after images or whatever. It's dumb comic book science. But it's drawn beautifully. And you absolutely believe it in the moment that you're reading because of how it's drawn. And it's something that would never be able to be, certainly when I read it, done properly in animation or special effects. Even with the computer special effects we have now, that sort of thing is so ridiculous. It kind of just exists in the realm of pen and paper drawings. And like, even if we did do a CGI in like the Flash movie or the television show, it still wouldn't be as convincing as it was in that page. And so that kind of like sparked this love affair with comics that I've had ever since, because it was like, here's something that no other medium can do. And like, you can read about that in text. You can have a approximation in TV and movies, or you can have the actual thing drawn in front of you. And that was just really great. So like, ever since then I've been in love with it. And like, I've been making comics since I was like 8 years old or whatever. Like I have old sketchbooks of my own characters doing, various things. And it's something I've always been chasing, and it's neat to finally have the job I've wanted since I was 8.
That's great. That's amazing. Very gratifying, I'm sure.
It is. It was really cool to, like when Hawkgirl 1, the comps arrived at my house and I was able to hold it. I was like, this is... like I felt the inner child just like explode with glee that I was finally doing what I've always wanted to do.
That's great. That's awesome. What do you enjoy doing outside of writing?
Well, the main thing I do when I'm not writing is take care of my daughter, who is 6 and delightful. And but I'm also a big reader. Like I love reading comics, but also text and like all sorts of books. Like our house is full of books. I also draw. I used to do a lot of costuming for theater and stuff, and I haven't done that much anymore, but we still go all out for Halloween. which is very exciting. Yeah, we were haunted houses last year with like light up windows and like ghosts that flew around. It was really cool.
That's great. I love Halloween. That sounds like a blast.
Yeah.
My mother, I used to do a lot of cosplay, and my mother and I would work on costumes together. She did most of the work. I'm not going to say I did that much, but she would love to sew, and she would love to help me out. So that's very cool.
Awesome.
That's very cool. Final question.
Yeah.
Any upcoming projects that you want to talk about or can talk about?
Yeah, none I can talk about. I mean, there's
Fair.
one I'm working on right now that I think people will be very excited about once it's announced, but I can't actually say anything.
That's okay.
But I'm very happy doing it, and it's very exciting and thrilling for me to do it. And I'm very excited to have people know about it and be able to talk about it. But it's coming and it's great. That's all I can say.
That's enough for me. We're excited to hear more about it.
Okay. Well, I'll let you know.
Great. Well, that's pretty much it. We want to thank Jadzia very much for doing this interview. Comment below if you guys are excited to continue to read Hawk Girl, what you guys have been liking about Hawk Girl so far. I know I've been loving it. And yeah, thank you again so much for being here. And
Thank you for having me. It's been great.
you're very welcome. And bye-bye.